Hello, my name's Cody Grieve, and today I want to talk about why the death penalty should be abolished. So, the death penalty, also known as capital punishment, is a legal procedure in which the court deems it acceptable to execute somebody based on their crimes. So, the death penalty is usually reserved for criminals who have committed heinous crimes, such as rape, murder, kidnapping, etc. This topic can be kind of controversial to many depending on their faith and their personal morals. Those who are in favor of the death penalty find it to be a fitting punishment, while others who oppose it find it to be cruel and demeaning, even for criminals. The death penalty is an issue that has divided the United States because some people are in favor of it while others don't agree with the practice. I don't. The death penalty, it's inhumane, it's ineffective in preventing crime, and it goes against the Bible. To ensure that criminals are entitled to fair and humane treatment, the death penalty should be abolished. First, the death penalty is inhumane. Everyone has the right to live and the right to be free of degrading and cruel punishment. One doesn't commit murder in order to show that murder's wrong. There should be no difference between murder and execution. Methods of execution include hanging, electric chair, lethal injection, and more. Lethal injection is the most popular method of execution, while hanging and electrocution have been outlawed in most places. Methods of lethal injection are flawed, and some inmates may experience awareness during the process, and that causes suffering during the execution, which is not humane at all. The lethal injection dose consists of sodium thiopental for anesthesia, pancuronium bromide to induce paralysis, and finally potassium chloride, which causes death. The anesthesia is a crucial part of the process because without it, the dosage can cause asphyxiation and a burning sensation to the inmate. However, anesthesia in these practices has not been subjected to clinical trials or governmental regulation. Therefore, anesthesia methods cannot be accurate. Participation of doctors in the death penalty are ethically prohibited, so in relation, accurate doses of anesthesia cannot be given. And that is from an article called Inadequate Anesthesia and Lethal Injection for Execution by The Lancet. A study by Columbia University Law School found that 2/3 of all capital punishment cases contained errors. The cases were retried, and 80% of the defendants were not sentenced to death. Society takes risks every single day where people can lose their lives, whether it be operating a vehicle or carrying out a dangerous job, but the act of wrongful execution can be prevented. In replacement to the death penalty, life without parole can be instituted to meet the needs of the punishment without risking the possibility of somebody's life being lost innocently. So secondly, I want to talk about the death penalty is not a deterrent to crime, and it's ineffective in the prevention of murder. So some horrendous crimes are already premeditated, meaning that criminals knew what they were doing and they planned out their crime before it happened. The threat of capital punishment will not discourage those criminals because they've already thought about it. They already wanted to do that. They knew what the outcome was going to be. States that don't support capital punishment do not have lower crime rates than the states that don't support the death penalty. Not only is the death penalty ineffective, it costs more than incarceration. In 2011, a study showed that California had spent $4 billion on 13 capital punishment cases. 13. An article called State Studies on Monetary Costs claims that if the government commuted the sentences of those remaining on death row to life without parole, it would result in an immediate savings of $170 million per year, with a savings of $5 billion over the next 20 years. Therefore, capital punishment is taking taxpayer money to execute people, when it's cheaper to keep them in prison for life. Finally, I want to talk about that the death penalty goes against the Bible. So, it's funny because the Old Testament actually endorses capital punishment. It states in Genesis 9:6, "Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made man." The principal argument is that life is sacred, so therefore those who take lives must pay with their lives. Simply, the New Testament era supersedes the Old Testament law. There are certain laws that were overturned when Jesus came to the earth, and the death penalty happened to fall under that category. In Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 through 41, Jesus rejects the principle of taking equal revenge for wrongdoing. It was no longer eye for an eye or tooth for a tooth. Jesus laid down his life in order to atone for everyone's sins, including the inmates that sit on death row, awaiting their capital punishment. In conclusion, the death penalty, it's seen as wrong in so many different contexts. There's no possibility of a humane way to kill somebody. Methods of execution can fail and cause pain and suffering to the inmate receiving the punishment. The cost of someone's life should not be based on retribution and revenge, because in the long run, revenge killing does not fill the void in somebody's heart. Jesus came and died on the cross for those kinds of situations, so people who have sinned can repent of those transgressions. Thank you.